Hello and welcome to Talking Game. It's match preview of West Ham United against Arsenal. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on the Gunners, please?
Yeah, just in scintillating form last couple of games. Certainly, Saka's looking bloody good, isn't he? They look like they're well, they look like they do pretty much every season. Actually, really, really good team. Not quite at the very top level, but excellent. Really pragmatic. Yeah, I hope the fans are not particularly getting frustrated with Arteta. I suspect they're not, because I do think he's a good coach, and I just think they're where they are. Gio, they're probably the third biggest team in the country, and that's probably roughly where they are at the moment in the league as well. I'm sure they're looking at it and looking at Liverpool maybe creeping away. They're thinking, hold on, how did that happen? But we've seen this so many times. We saw it. We saw it when Leicester won the league, and everyone sort of took the mickey out of Tottenham, didn't they, for coming third in a 2-horse race sort of thing. I think then you even look at Dortmund. Dortmund's a classic example. We've been looking at Dortmund recently because of Terzic, and they did exactly the same, didn't they? The season that Bayern Munich were not winning the Bundesliga, Dortmund were meant to win it. Well, they didn't. They actually came fourth. So I do wonder if Arsenal fans are looking at it thinking, hold on a second, the season when City is shit, this is when we're meant to win it, and now Liverpool look even better than us. So, but they're a good team, very, very good team.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you just said there. They've been waiting, haven't they? Liverpool have been waiting for City to wobble, and then it felt like Liverpool perhaps were on the decline a little bit. Arsenal have become the second best team in the country. They were waiting for City to wobble. They're wobbling, but now Liverpool have jumped back up. And the reality is, at this stage of the season, points-wise, Arsenal are closer to West Ham than they are Liverpool, which is crazy when you think about it.
They can sort it out at the weekend.
Which is just absolutely wild when you think about it. But I think Arsenal have had their wobble this season.
For
I
sure.
think they've just had it. They've had a lot of injuries, missing Odegaard, Declan Rice was out. There was quite a few key players injured, and they lost a couple of games like against likes of Newcastle. And I think that's their bad patch. And they have to hope it is their bad patch, because you want to go on and win the title. You can't afford those. You get away with one or two of them, but that's it. And I think they've already had one, and they need Liverpool to go on and have one. But I think Liverpool likely will eventually drop a few points here and there. But Arsenal just need to make sure they're in a position to capitalise on that and leapfrog them. It's going to be difficult, though, because it's already a bit of a stretch. It's the second biggest ever lead somebody's had at this time in the season in the Premier League. So that's shows how good Liverpool have been. And I think it reflects the performances of Liverpool rather than the poorer performances of Manchester City and Arsenal, because they're doing all right. It's just that Liverpool are doing exceptionally well.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Do you think Arsenal will go on and lift the title or any other trophies?
I'm sure they're capable of winning the trophy. They have to beat Liverpool in the head-to-head to win the title. They come away from that game and Liverpool beat them, then it's going to be really hard for them to claw that deficit. I do think Liverpool have a little wobble, maybe, but it would have to be sort of quite significant. They don't really show any signs of doing it. The irony is, of course, I'm not sure Liverpool would be doing this if Klopp was there. Not calling Klopp a bad manager. I think it just needed that sort of refresh.
And they've adapted, haven't they? The tactics have been tweaked, and it's made them a little bit.
Yes, but they all look top. All those Liverpool players look top class again, don't they? Maybe maybe they were starting to look a little bit tired, and people are thinking, "Oh, when are they going to move on?" But everyone, anyway, I don't not talk about Liverpool too much. But I don't think they can win the league, no. But I don't. But that's fine. Again, Arsenal are that team. Arsenal are. I mean, they had a really great spell under Arsene Wenger, and they were capable of winning the league. They nicked it off Liverpool a couple of times under George Graham. But Arsenal are never the team. They're not going to do a Manchester United, a Liverpool, or a Manchester City and win 5-6 leagues in a row, or whatever, or even 2 or 3. That they are the team that might every 10 years nick a Premier League, and I think that's just what they are. I say nick it's. No, I think would be deservedly win one, but they're never going to dominate. But they are very capable of winning another trophy. And I do think they will win a Premier League at some point under Arteta. So I'm sure they'll be patient. The board, at least, will be patient with him. They could definitely definitely win a trophy this season, no doubt about it. They're always infinitely capable of picking up. Arteta won the FA Cup, didn't he? I think possibly.
Yeah,
they're infinitely capable of winning those sort of trophies, and I think if they're in Europa League, they'd win it easily. And obviously, they are going to be in with a shout. That the trouble is, I know this is a bad time to say it because Real Madrid just lost to Liverpool, and deservedly so, by the way. But it's always tough, I think, when you come up against those teams, particularly Real Madrid. They're just a force of nature. So, can Arsenal win the Champions League? They can, but they'd have to. It's one thing beating Sporting Lisbon have just lost their head coach, another beating Real Madrid when it gets to the juicy rounds at the end of the tournament. But they absolutely are capable of winning a trophy, yeah.
I think they might. My pre-season prediction was that Arsenal would win the title. I just had a feeling that Man City wouldn't do it. To win 4 in a row, well, it made history.
Yep.
So to go and win 5 seemed unlikely. And I like maths. I'm a man of probability. And so the probability of Man City winning it was lesser than it perhaps was. And I assumed Arsenal would be the team that would go on and get it. But to be fair, I liked Arsenal last season. Signed Calafiori in the summer, and one man in particular was out injured a lot last season. He came back, and I'm not saying his name because I'm going to credit him a lot when we do the players we admire. And it was like a new signing. And I thought with the implementation of those two into the team, I thought, well, that's their weaknesses covered, bar the striker. But I did think Kai Havertz perhaps might step up another level this season because I think he has looked really good at times. There's been some games you've looked at and you thought they are missing that natural number 9, but not many. Most games, I think Havertz does a good job leading that line for them. So I thought they'd go on and win the title. Not so sure anymore because I'm just a big fan of the way Liverpool have been this season. Yeah. But the way they dispatch Sporting, and I appreciate Ruben Amorim's left. However, that's Ruben Amorim's team. That's Ruben Amorim's tactics, Ruben Amorim's system. It might as well have been Ruben Amorim in the dugout against Arsenal, and they just ripped it to shreds from the first minute. And, that 5-1 wasn't an unfair scoreline. They deserved to win that convincingly against Sporting. I thought they absolutely annihilated them. An important win for them last weekend against Nottingham Forest as well. Coming back after international break, after going into it with some poor form and poor results, it was important they won that one. And they dispatched what has been a pretty organised and difficult side to beat so far this season. And they just took them apart easily as well. So I don't want to say that they're back to their best, Arsenal. They've got to go a few more games to do that. But they're certainly, in their 2 games post-international break, they are showing signs that there may be the Arsenal of last season a little bit, which isn't good news for West Ham. So I think they'll win a trophy. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say I think it might be the Champions League. I think if they're out of the title race, and this is the problem, we know this as West Ham fans because we've had it just on a different level where we're in European football, we could qualify for European football. It's a very difficult thing to juggle when you're competing on more than one front. Last season, we got to, the quarterfinals of the domestic cup as well. It's hard. And I think for Arsenal, when they've been in the title race and the Champions League, you're taking both competitions seriously. You're playing your first 11 Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's hard. And in a weird way, they're not in the title race come March. It might actually benefit them. Said, you know what, we're not gaining this 9 points, but we've got the Champions League here. Let's really prioritise that. We're definitely going to finish in the top 4. Let's focus and see if we can win this trophy. And it might actually be a silver lining in the cloud. So, yeah, I think Arsenal will win something this season. I'm just not sure which. Final question on them then, Gonzo. Persia Mayer?
Oh, Saka's in great form, isn't he?
Yeah.
I could watch Odegaard play all day. The 17-year-old fella, crikey, he looks a bit of an handful, doesn't he? The young kid there. I think. Yeah. I think the centre-back partnership. I say partnership. There's really 4 of them, isn't there? But the central 2. When they're fit, and I know that's not been the case this season, of Gabriel and Saliba, I think are the best. I think they're the best that I've seen us play against in the Premier League. I absolutely hate him, Gabriel. I can't stand him. And he's the sort of player you want on your team. He's horrible. He's absolutely horrible, and he must be a nightmare. He must be a nightmare to play against. Something we do. You know, we talk about people getting twatted in the tunnel after games. When we would discuss it on Patreon, he must have people. I'm surprised people aren't trying to kill him in the tunnel after games. He is the master of the dark arts, I think, and one of them in the Premier League. That's for sure. They are as a pairing, they've got it all. They're really tough to play against, and he really has built a formidable, nasty team there. Actually, Arteta. But one that can, as I mentioned, get someone like Odegaard who just gets on the ball. They can do a bit of everything. They got the flair. They got the nastiness. They've got loads and loads of really good players, Gio.
I think killing him is the only way you're going to stop him at set pieces. I think I am just, I say mesmerized. I was, but now it's getting to the point where people know what Arsenal are going to do at set pieces. But I don't know how you stop them, and no one's worked out yet. You watched them at Sporting. What they were doing is their usual set piece routine. Bang, Gabriel scored. Well, you just can't stop him. It's like, it's a bit like when Dimitri Payet took free kicks for West Ham. You know what's going to happen. You just can't stop it. It's too good. It's, Crystal Palace had like 8 men in a wall, and he still bent it round them into the top corner. And Arsenal set pieces and Gabriel at set pieces are a little bit like that. You know what's coming. You know exactly what he's going to do, where he's going to run, where the rest of them are going to be. You know who's taking the corners, but you just can't stop it. And I think that's something we need to do. And I think killing him in the tunnel is one way that we could maybe.
I think you must. Yeah,
it might be the only way that you're going to be able to stop.
But I got so many annoying. They were so annoying. You're going to get first. Do you know what I mean? Probably. Oh damn! I want to get Arteta as well. They got so many annoying people that. He probably gets away. But there's enough annoying people around him that no one actually gets to Gabriel. Maybe.
Odegaard, I have to agree with. He's just a sensational footballer, and I always think one of the biggest compliments you can give a player is when you don't play, how much you notice that player is not playing. I think Odegaard, that's been proven in the last few weeks when he was missing. Arsenal just were not the same. They were missing that creativity, that spark, that dictated the tempo of the game. And you watch him just oozing class, especially against Sporting the other night. He was just picking the ball up, and his passing's incredible. His vision's... He goes over and links up with Saka, and you're like, bloody hell, that's a difficult partnership. And he goes over the other side of the pitch and starts doing it with the players over there as well. And you think, look, Christ, you can't stop this guy. And he's almost got the perfect partner in Declan Rice, where if Odegaard goes over one way, Declan Rice will go on the other part of the pitch, so that he's utilising the space vacated by Odegaard. They've got a really good pairing in midfield, those two. But the one I'm going to pick out weirdly is Timber. I think there needs to be a study into Erik ten Hag, because he signed all these former Ajax players, and the two he didn't sign was Timber and Kudus. And that takes some doing. That's almost quite impressive that he had all this talent, and the two he didn't pick up. And I mean, there was others like Alvarez, of course, but those two in particular were the two most suited to the Premier League. Anyway, I think Timber's just... I really liked him before going to Arsenal. Then he got injured very early on last season, missed the entire season. He's been fantastic. He's been absolutely fantastic. Defensively, really good. Offensively, also really good. The pass that he did on Tuesday night, that's one you would expect someone like Odegaard to make. He's such a fantastic player. When I watch him play, it's one of those that you look at and think, I just wish I had someone like that at my club. I would love Timber. And he's not the only Arsenal player, of course, but I would love someone like Timber at West Ham. I think last season, he might have been the final piece of the jigsaw, or the season prior. But the problem is now he's back. It feels like some players like Martinelli have stopped firing, and is now an issue elsewhere in the pitch. But he was, I think he was earmarked to play left back last season, but then he signed Calafiori and he's come over to the right. And now Ben White's out for a few months. So it's a good thing. But I do think he's an exceptional talent. And Saka, I think he's world class. I know a lot of people play down his ability and stuff, but I do think he is an incredible talent. Anyway, from that team to our team, and before we do that, I just want to point you in the direction of our Patreon, because we've got 2 promotions on in a minute. Well, we've got two different promotions, but one big competition that you're going to want to enter. So the first promotion is you can become a patron and try it free for a week as a mild addict or an addict. Simply go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat, just click on the button, enter your details, and you've got 7 days to have a look around, watch all the videos, access all the content. But if you don't want it, make sure you cancel. Otherwise, they will charge you after 7 days. But the second promotion, which is running up until the end of November, which is on Saturday. So Saturday night, this promotion will come to an end. And that is you can get your first month as a Hammers Chat Addict half price. To do so, go onto the page, click on Addict. On the payment page, there's a box there. It says, what's your discount code? Insert the code 8D52A. 8 Delta 52 Alpha. Put that in, you get the first month half price. We've got a prediction competition running for this game, and it's all about dicks. Julian dicks, that is. We've got different tiers of prizes, but if you are an addict, so you've taken advantage of the half price one, and you're the overall winner for our prediction competition, all you have to do is guess the correct score in the first score of the game. And the last 4 games have now been won. So we are getting winners. It's costing us a lot of money.
Yeah.
Costing us a lot of bloody money, this is. But the top prize for this weekend is a signed Julian Dix shirt. And then the winner will pick 2 of. So you get the shirt, but you also get a signed Julian Dix book, signed Julian Dix print, or signed Julian Dix captain's armband. The winner will pick 2 of those items plus a shirt. So you get 3 items in total, all signed by Julian Dix. There's a lot of dicks up for grabs this weekend on Hammers Chat Patreon.
Like every weekend.
Anyway, well, normally you watch the dicks, but on this one you can win the dicks. Gonzo, would you like to know the West Ham team news?
I would love to know the West Ham team news. Thank you.
Well, Edson Alvarez is back from suspension. He's available for selection. There's question marks over Jean-Claire Todibo after he went off injured against Newcastle. However, for the purpose of this preview, we will include him in our lineups. And also, there's a question mark over Niklas Füllkrug as to whether he might make it on the bench. You can include him if you want, Gonzo. But there will be no Mohammed Kudus. This is his final game he's suspended for. He will be back on Tuesday against Leicester City, but he is not available this weekend. With all that said and done, Gonzo, would you take me through your goalkeeper and defence that you would like to see, not what you think Lopetegui will do?
Well, Gabriel can consider himself lucky, actually, quite frankly, that Kudus isn't around for this one, because as Kudus has shown, he can push North Londoners quite ferociously. So and they all fall over. So he's a lucky boy. No Kudus. I'm still gonna make a change from the team, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll keep the newly skilled Fabianski in goal with his tricks and his Cruyff turns and his Ronaldinho flicks. We'll keep him in goal. Odegaard will be looking at Fabianski thinking, how'd you do that stuff? That's impressive. We'll keep Aaron Obi-Wan Bissaka at right back, who's in for a busy day, I'm sure. I'm actually going to put Mavropanos in because he's so dominant in the air, and I think that's important for this one, actually. I am. We're unsure what's going to happen with Todibo. It's not the bigger picture and all the rest of it, but I think for this game, we're going to try and look to get some level of way to combat their set plays. I think it might be Mavropanos is the way to go. So that's why Max Kilman, obviously, wonderful performance against Newcastle. Obviously, Emerson. Well, I'll tell you, the rest of the team's going to be the same as before, basically. But I'm more than happy to list it for you.
Yeah, about to say, you just ruined the next 2 minutes of content, haven't you?
We ruined it earlier on by talking about dicks.
I wouldn't. We have to discuss the Arsenal team, but I wouldn't change the defence. I would keep Todibo in there. I get it, like what you're saying there. I don't think it's wild, not as wild as putting Todibo defence in midfield, and which is the same as the last preview. So for me, Fabianski, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, and Emerson. Would you? So were you tempted at all to bring Edson Alvarez back in for this one?
Not even remotely. Not even remote. Honestly, not even a smidgen. I'd be. He's done one red card too many for me. I'm not happy with him anyway, and it's even before we started playing well. You can, I think as you've mentioned, he's twerked for a move a few times as well. It's a hindrance. I love his commitment, but the amount of times he gets yellow carded and then red carded. It just, I couldn't guarantee that we'd have 11 men on the pitch if he plays. And I'm sorry, at that point, I don't care how good you are. No, but listen, I don't think he suits the system particularly anyway. That being said, I do think he would work if you were going to play Paqueta and Soler. Yeah. I do think he would work. But there were numerous times in that game where actually Thomas Souček was in advance of Soler and Paqueta. And I don't want him to see him. I don't mind Souček doing it, but I don't want to see Alvarez doing it either. So there's I wouldn't have him in there for form. I wouldn't have him in there because I thought the system works well against Newcastle, but I also wouldn't have him in there for discipline. I've got 3 reasons not to include him. So no, not even remotely tempted.
I think he might suit the role better than Souček, that sort of defensive midfielder role. And I think it would work better for him having Soler and Paqueta there rather than Rodriguez and Paqueta or Souček and Paqueta, for example. So I think this might be the midfield he needs as well. But I'm also not including him because just lack of trust, like you said. I don't mind him picking up yellow cards. A couple of them are stupid, but I don't mind it. A defensive midfielder is always going to pick up bookings. I'm not bothered by that. And sometimes I want to see him pick up yellow cards in regards to breaking down counter-attacks and stuff. I think sometimes in the past, I think some of our players have been guilty of not taking a booking for the team and they've let the attack play out and it ends up in a goal, and you watch it back and there's an opportunity at the halfway line to wipe someone out. And, you watch Liverpool against Real Madrid and then you've got Gravenberch got it from Mouthville, but you've got McAllister hauling someone down to stop a counter-attack. And I think that's a good thing to do. But you need to be disciplined after that. And his 2 red cards have come from yellow card offences after, which has been chopping players down. And both times, needless ones as well. When it's, Salah and Elanga out on the touchline. It wasn't even like they were bearing down on goal. It was just pure stupidity. The worst thing is, he wasn't even close to getting the ball on either occasion. You could see it coming a mile away. You were watching it thinking, he's done it. And you're like, well, he's like, there's no question about this becoming a red card. It's 100% the right thing to do. And it's pure stupidity from Edson Alvarez on both occasions. And you just cannot trust him going into this game.
No, you can't.
To, like I said, the first yellow card, fine. But you can't trust him to not get another one. And if you start Edson Alvarez, you're basically, that's your first sub. And also, you've already made 4 subs. You can't make a 5th one because there's every chance he's going to get a booking at some point, and then you're going to need that 5th one in order to get him off the pitch. Because from now on, as soon as he gets booked, I'm going to want to see him subbed because I don't trust him to not get a second yellow card. So I'm the same. I'd leave it as Souček, Soler and Paqueta. They deserve to stay in the team as well after the last performance. Absolutely. Like I said, am I convinced it's the right solution? No, it's going to take more than one game, but they deserve the next fixture. And I'm going to say it now, they deserve the Leicester game as well, because I think to judge them off the back of the Arsenal game would be very harsh because we're ready to come up against a top team here. And then you've got Bowen on the right, Somerville on the left, and Antonio up front.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it picks itself in the absence of Kudus. I would have brought Kudus back for this one, by the way.
Would you? Where would you put him?
I would have put him where Somerville was, because I don't think Somerville played badly, but far from it. We've done our player ratings.
You hate Somerville.
That's right. There you go. Get the old binary mob going. Yeah, it's that wasn't a sexual reference, but that was people who don't have any grey area, just so as you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut up now. But I thought Somerville, played his part in the performance. I really did. I just think if we were going to play like that, if you'd have actually put Kudus in that team against Newcastle, would have been even better. I think he would create some havoc actually and produce. I think he's got a little bit more of a goal threat. Well, I think that's clear. So I would put him back in for this one. But I do think Somerville has cemented his place as a proper West Ham player now, and I don't. It's not like I think, if someone's out, that's a damn shame. We've got to put Somerville in there. It's not like shoehorning Pablo Fornals on the left wing. I don't feel that's happening. I do feel we've got a proper guy there. So pick exactly the same team.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. if he was available, Kudus, I wouldn't have put him in. I'd put him on the bench for this one. And it's not like a punishment. I just think the team was really balanced against Newcastle, and I'm not so sure we'd be better if Kudus played instead of Somerville. I think he's a better player. Absolutely. I'm not disputing that. I think Kudus is by far the better player than Somerville. But I just think you can tell Kudus isn't a left winger, and I think you can tell Somerville is a left winger, and that's why I would keep it the same. And in there, you'd have a top class player on the bench to bring on that can play in various different positions. Earn your shirt back is what I'm going to say. Anyway, this video is sponsored by Match Bingo. There's 2 promotions for Match Bingo as well this weekend. First one, if you're a newbie, you deposit £10, you'll get £10 credit, so you get 20 quid to play with over on the Match Bingo app. And the second promotion is this game in particular. You buy 4 cards, you will get your 5th card free. So buy 4, get 5. So you get your 5th one's a freebie. Match Bingo gives you 15 events you need to occur in the game, but you don't need all 15 to occur in order to win money. It pays out the first person to get the first line, the second line, as well as the full house. Plus, there's a £100 bonus pot for the full house for anyone that gets all 15, but they weren't first to it. You will get a share of that leftover. Loads and loads of winners from Hammer's Chat. Links in the description below. I'm not going to go on about it anymore, but you can download the app in the description below. Please do use that link or the pinned comments. Coming up in December, there's a lot of new games. So even if you've already signed up to Match Bingo, keep your eyes on the app. New games coming out very soon. And we've got an event in January as well. And you'll need the Match Bingo app for it to play along. Gonzo, how are you feeling ahead of this game?
Better. Much better. Much better. Yeah, and optimistic for the run in towards Christmas and the New Year. Actually, I'm definitely feeling about. I want to see a second game of the same tactics and the same tact. What I mean by that very much is I think us not rushing up the pitch in the way we were and sort of like defending near the halfway line. I think that helped. We were but more importantly, the endeavour and the intensity, which I thought, you mentioned the running stat when we did our player ratings. Do I expect us to do the second best running in the league? No, but I want us to be up there. Those sort of energy levels, everyone being committed, and most importantly, the two players in midfield who are comfortable on the ball. That's what I want. 2 creative players rather than 2 destroyers, basically 2 creators rather than 2 destroyers, which I just don't. I understand that there might be a tendency for people to think, oh, maybe against Arsenal that might be better. But it actually just showed when you have a little bit of the ball, when you're creative, actually you can put the opposition on the back foot a little bit, which gives your defence a bit of a rest. So I really like that. So I think those 3 things are quite key. As long as I see those 3 things, I will then believe, oh, he's switched. Lopetegui switched. He's now thought, okay, I'm gonna go. Well, whatever. I've dismissed the overly creative ideas that he had early on in the season and actually just go into something a little bit more orthodox, but with a little bit more control of the football, which is what I thought we had. And I just, as I mentioned again in our player ratings, we've been so wing heavy in terms of the way our attacks have built. And we've done, obviously on Patreon, if you remember Patreon, we've got access to Y Scout, which is like the global scouting software. So we get this real detailed stuff. And so you get an idiot like me reading this real detailed stuff. But even it was been apparent to me that there's been games there's been no creativity through the middle. And it's just none. Sometimes not a key pass, nothing going on through the middle. And I think to have that added in, that actually we can, and I know a lot of the balls, particularly from Slayer, were going wide and stuff like that, but to have a threat through the middle, which we very much had in this game as well, was really, really key. So I think it just gives the team more balance. You've got left, right, and middle. Amazing, all right? And I think if we see that again, then I will think, okay, Lopetegui really has switched. So I want to see a little bit more confirmation of it in this game, and that doesn't mean I expect us necessarily to win, but just confirmation that he's switched style. I'll be really really buzzing and looking forward to the remainder of the year watching us play. I think
to begin a little bit like Ali McCoist, for me, it's a free hit for Lopetegui. This one, I think he's taking pressure.
Well, he's not even going to be there, is he?
He's in the stands. He's going to be in Rosette with binoculars. He's had difficulty translating. Well, he's going to have difficulty bloody seeing, never mind speaking. But I think this is a free hit for Lopetegui. I think that performance against Newcastle, as well as the wins, taking the pressure off him quite a lot. And I've enjoyed seeing people's positivity this week, and the feel-good factors crept back in a little bit. And it's not quite, pre-season optimism and hope, but it's the best it's been this season. It's literally one game, one performance, and that's football for you. And this is, I think it comes because people have been desperate to see it. It's like, please give us something, just give us something we can cling to. And I think this was a lot of people's concerns, and why a lot of people would have wanted Lopetegui dismissed during the international break, because there was nothing to cling to. The performances were bad. But now we've got almost like at least 45 minutes of like perfect football, perfect tactics, player performances. And there's a lot of really good player performances as well. So it's not like one guy played well and won us the game. They all played well. They all worked their arses off. And there was a lot of positive stuff to take out of that game. And this match is going to be difficult. But post-Arsenal, we've got Leicester, Bournemouth, Wolves. You're looking at thinking, hello, we can just, like you said, put a little run together here. Yes, we've got Liverpool, but we've got Southampton. If we can just pick up just 6 games in December, if you hit double figures, if you can get 10, 3 wins and a draw, I think that's a really good return. And suddenly it's, up until and including before kickoff, everybody was speaking, we're not that far off the bottom 3. And there was a little, the next bit was done with tongue in cheek for some people. Humour, important. We said, hang on, we're only 4 off 6 space. We're only 4 points off 6. Good. Also, factually correct. So it's a free hit as far as I'm concerned. With all that said and done, though, Gonzo, can I get any final words as well as your all-important score prediction, please?
Yeah, look, I think it's gonna be a tough game, and you talk about a free hit. He's got a free hit with me, and
as long as we don't get annihilated, right?
Well, I don't think we will. I was just about to say this. Look, last season we had shock and awe, and it's the one thing that's not the one thing. There's been lots of things that have annoyed me. Lopetegui's been crap earlier this season by Lopetegui's standards. What I don't like the fact that he's been compared unfavourably with David Moyes last season. David Moyes was crap last season. He was crap. Right, we got absolutely annihilated by Arsenal, and I don't think we're going to get annihilated this time. And I think that's really important. A free hit from me is as long as he plays again the same way as I just described, I don't mind. Right, because I don't think we'll get annihilated. I just want to see us learning more, improving more, learning this system. And do I think we'll come out of it with 5 man of the match contenders? No, not necessarily. But if we can come out of it again thinking, well, no one's really had a terrible game, quite possibly Arsenal. They've got such quality. Saka's in such good form. Odegaard, you mentioned from the set pieces as well. They could and are likely to break through at some point, Arsenal. But if collectively we played well, if we've put the effort in, and if we look like we're building towards something, and everyone's looking sort of fit and sharp, then I will not have too many complaints. I'll write off and say, okay, that was one anyway. Can we win? We can. We can win against them. There was still going to be some. There's still some glimmer of hope because they've not been. There's been times when they haven't been brilliant this season, but I also would concede they've had players come back from injury. And it's probably going to make them a little bit too hard to play against for us because they are probably the second best team in the league at the moment. So that's going to make them pretty damn tough to play against. I think we'll lose, but I think it'll be okay. And I think as long as we've lost this season, there's been no glimmers of hope, and we've said we haven't got a clue what we're doing. What are we doing? Where's the method? Where is the philosophy? If we lose and we still see the method and we see the philosophy, we think, okay, we're going forward, and it gives us confidence to go into the Leicester game. Then I'll be okay with that. So I think we'll. I think we might lose sort of 2-0 or 2-1 or something like that.
I think the thing is, though, last season we beat them twice as well. Oh, yes, we got a hiding, but we also beat them twice as well. And I'm a week ago, well, actually, it's not even a week ago. It was Monday. It was 4 days ago. I was dreading the Newcastle game, and I was convinced we were going to get a hiding. And it wasn't the lowest I've ever been. I know some people say they have been. That's fair enough, but it was nowhere near the Avram Grant era for me. It was nowhere near that. I was just grumpy. And it's more anger at what I thought was blowing a really good opportunity in the summer to build on what we had gained under David Moyes, and we'd blown that opportunity. But Monday was much needed, and I'm no longer dreading this game. I think we're going to get beat. But here's a huge difference. I was convinced we were going to get slapped by Nottingham Forest, and I was going to convince we were going to get slapped by Newcastle. I'm not convinced we're getting slapped by Arsenal. We're able to play the better of the three teams. But my optimism is higher out of those three games. I'm missing the Everton one out in particular because Everton are crap. But my optimism, do I think we can win? Yes. Monday, Nottingham Forest, I would have said absolutely not. No chance. I didn't see Monday coming at all. Could we win against Arsenal? Yes, but I think you're going to need Arsenal to play well, and I think Lopetegui is going to have to get everything right. And against Newcastle, Newcastle were in my opinion, Newcastle were the better team in the first half, and we were, I think, fortunate to go in leading. I feel they had a couple of really big opportunities. One in particular was an incredible save from Fabianski. On another day, we could have easily went in 1-0 down. We didn't. We went in 1-0 up, came out and put in the best 45 minutes performance I've seen this season from us, and we looked bloody comfortable doing it. But I just think a better team would have punished us a little bit in the first half. So while there was a lot of positivity to take from Monday, and I'm feeling good, there was still some things I looked at. Oh, right, okay, that needs to improve. This needs to improve. But I feel like there's something to build upon for the first time this season. And that's why my expectations are low for this game against Arsenal. But like you said, I'm hoping that we can put in a good performance. There's stuff there. We can come away going, right, it didn't work, but this and this happened. Pleased with that. And at the minute, I think we're going to get beat by Arsenal, but I think we're going to beat Leicester.
Yeah.
Now, the performance against Arsenal will dictate how I feel against Leicester, and also how Leicester fare this weekend with Van Nistelrooy in charge. So I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal. But I've got a completely different mood and mentality compared to going into the Newcastle game, which was, I'm dreading this one. I am not dreading this game. Part of me is a bit like, bring it on. But I just think Arsenal are a top team. So I'm going to say 3-1 to the Gunners. Anyway, shall we leave it there, my friend?
I think so, mate.
Well, thank you very much for joining us at home. If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. Patreon link is in the description below if you fancy trying it for a week or using the code to get the first month's half price as a addict. And also the Match Bingo link is in the description below in the pinned comments. So thank you very much to everybody and anybody that interacts with either or both of those things. We will be live at 4:25. It's a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. So we're live at 4:25 on this channel with our build-up show, watch along and reviews. So we shall catch you then.